Hello and welcome to the Fantasy Sanctuary. Week 12 is in the books. The fantasy season is fast disappearing, but don't worry, I'm here to talk through 10 players who are either rising or falling in Dynasty and tell you what you should be doing them. Should you be buying? Should you be selling? I'm going to walk you through all of that in this short 10-minute video. So stick around and let's talk through some players. Starting at the top, the biggest riser of the week, Kyren Williams. Hopefully, if you've been listening for the past month, 6 weeks, I've been screaming from the rooftops to go out and buy Kyren Williams. He is the running back 2 right now in points per game. I don't get it. Everybody just seems to forget what he's doing. He's been phenomenal. He's leading the league in success rate. He was amazing again on Sunday. When he is in, he is the lead back, over 68% opportunity share in this offense. He is now my Dynasty running back 10, which is absolutely wild to think this guy was probably undrafted in the offseason. But I would happily go and buy for a mid-2024 first. But the best thing is, I don't think you need to pay that. I honestly think you can go and acquire him right now for a late first, if not an early second. He is still undervalued, all because of a slow 40 time and bad draft capital. But sometimes you just got to accept what you're seeing on the field. The guy's getting it done. He's looked fast. He's looked explosive. And with the volume of work that he is getting in Los Angeles, he is going to be a league winner, guaranteed. The next riser, look, I was not a Russell Wilson believer in the offseason at the beginning of the season. I was talking about how he could potentially lose his job and they bring in Jarrett Stidham. Hold my hands up. I was wrong. Last 6 weeks, he has been absolutely balling. You can see a little bit high touchdown rate, 6.3%, but the guy's just getting it done week in, week out. He's the QB 14 overall, averaging over 16 points. And I think it's safe to say that he is now going to be the starting quarterback in Denver for at least next season, if not the year after. Any quarterback that is in that stable of a position in Superflex leagues, you know you can happily go and pay a first for. If you're looking for somebody that's a solid, reliable QB2, Russell Wilson's your man right now, because QB market is absolutely horrendous. I think there's going to be a lot of moving parts this offseason, but Russell Wilson is one that isn't going anywhere. The next riser, Chuba Hubbard. He's kind of hinted at it the last few weeks, but I really believe this is his backfield moving forward. He's looked more explosive than Miles Sanders. We've got a wholesale coaching change. We've got Frank Reich fired, Josh McCown fired, Deuce Staley fired. It could be change, but I think that Chuba Hubbard is a player that this team could potentially commit to and maybe build around moving forward. I think Miles Sanders, he'll be with the team next year, the way that contract's structured. But if Chuba Hubbard can flash down the stretch, it could be that that's a piece that this offense can build around. Bryce Young, Chuba Hubbard. God knows there's not much else that you can build around on this offense. So potentially a sneaky little value right now. I think you can maybe get him for a kind of a late second, maybe as a throw-in, as a bit part in a bigger deal. But he holds kind of running back 2 value for the rest of the season, I think, potentially. Another riser. Look, we all thought Bijan was going to walk in and be a superstar. It didn't quite happen, but 55% opportunity share last week. He's starting to get the rock more. And look, 5 top 12 weeks, running back 9 overall. He's starting to flash the volume that we hoped he would get. The talent has been there all along. The burst, the explosion. This guy is a matchup weapon that can line up anywhere on the field. You saw on Sunday that, wheel route that he took vertical, really impressive, and he can score anywhere on the field. So he's back up to my running back 1. I'd happily pay 2 first for. I don't think you can probably buy him right now. I think off the back of Sunday, maybe it's a hold rather than a buy. But if you can go and get in for somebody that's getting a little bit nervous, maybe you can acquire him on the cheap. The final riser, Calvin Ridley. Now, I know there's a bit of rumors that are back-to-back 20-point weeks because Zay Jones has come in. That's not the reason. The reason is that the Jaguars have suddenly realized that they can move Ridley around. Calvin Ridley is one of the best pure route runners in the league. The problem was for the first 9 weeks of the year, he was being asked to line up outside, win downfield on goes and hitches and nothing else. Now, it doesn't matter how good a route runner you are. You can't win if you're not coming across the field. You're not making the corner at least guess. They've moved him, reduced splits. They've moved him into the slot, and now he's absolutely feasting. He's been used all over the field. I think Calvin Ridley is what we hoped he would be to start the year now, and I think he's potentially a back-end wide receiver one for the rest of the season. And if you can go and spend a contender's first-round pick, maybe that's the time to go and buy. Sneaky upside, definitely, because I think Trevor Lawrence is balling and is going to have a phenomenal second half of the season. Now, some exciting news whilst you're here. Would you like to become a Golden Deck Chair member of the Fantasy Sanctuary for free? Well, Tom and I, we're going to be giving away to one lucky viewer a full access to the Golden Deck Chair. So that's all of Tom's DFS content, the write-up, the video, all of my Dynasty content, the survival kit, the trade calculator, all of that from now until the end of December for free. All you've got to do is comment below in this video. We will select one lucky viewer. Just drop that comment below and we'll be in touch to let you know who that lucky winner is. Time to get negative. Let's move to the fallers. Cooper Kupp, a big faller for me this week. Since he came back from that early season injury, I've been holding out hope. He's been around that sort of mid wide receiver 2 in Dynasty for me, despite the fact he's not been producing. I've kind of been going, I don't want to drop him because I believe in the talent. I don't want to drop him because I believe in the talent. I still believe in the talent, but I'm now getting nervous. He's now dropped down on my top 24. I think he's worth a late first at most. I don't think you can go and buy him right now. The guy's incredible, but he's just not producing. I think the ankle injury is a big part of that. I think that sudden explosiveness isn't there. The underlying numbers are really still impressive. 25% target share, 2.3 yards per route run, 29% targets per route run, but the production's not. He's the wide receiver 46 right now in points per game. Hopefully, he can put it together down the back end of the stretch and, maybe give us some confidence going into the offseason. But right now, it's hard to be excited. So if you can get a mid-first for him, if you think somebody's going to try and come and buy low, I'd absolutely snap their hand off right now, because I do worry that as we get into that age 30 cliff for wide receivers, I worry Cooper Kupp's best fantasy days could be behind him. The next faller, Travis Etienne. Now, I know what you're thinking. The running back 3 overall, averaging over 17 points per game. How can he be a faller? Well, the last 3 weeks, he's averaging 9 points per game. And that's become because he's no longer a true workhorse. He's split in the backfield. Dearness Johnson's getting mixed in. Tank Bigsby is getting mixed in. And he's been under 75% opportunity share each of the last 3 weeks. I still think he's explosive. He still can score a touchdown anytime he touches the ball. He's still probably a top 12 back. But the value is definitely declining if he isn't going to get 80, 90% opportunity share. You're not going to get the volume, the touchdowns, the receiving work. It's all going to start to dissipate. And I think that, if you can sell that RB3 overall price and get, a couple of firsts, maybe a first and a second, maybe a first and a competent player, that's a move I'd be looking to do, because I'm worried that Travis Etienne is going to be a back-end RB1 for the rest of the season. So if you can sell high, maybe someone doesn't realize that he's not produced the last 3 weeks, and kind of get out from him before the bottom falls out. The next faller, Derek Carr. Look, I like Derek Carr because I think he's got some job security, but he's no longer like a good solid RB2. He's in that QB3 territory. You can see 2.7% touchdown rate. I don't know what's going on with the Saints offense. They just can't score touchdowns. EPA per play has been woeful. He's now missing Michael Thomas. Chris Olave's out. Rashid Shaheed's out. I think it's no longer exciting, shall we say, to roster Derek Carr. I think you're going to struggle to sell him. So I think he's probably a hold right now. The next big faller, we're going to move on to Chris Godwin. Look, this was a guy many people hoped would be a plug-and-play, solid wide receiver 2, got reliable volume, but it's just not happening. He's outside the top 36 wide receivers overall. Good target share numbers, but he's only had 2 top 24 weeks. That's just not a guy that you can start as anything more than a flex play. The reason being, he stopped seeing those manufactured touches. Chris Godwin was averaging over 3 manufactured touches a game, whether that be screens or rushing attempts. That's completely disappeared. He's not getting that high volume manufactured touches, and so far his overall fantasy production has plummeted. This is a guy that I would sell for an early second right now. I think on name value, you can potentially get a little bit more, but unless something drastic changes, this offense rolls through Mike Evans because we know Baker Mayfield likes to take shots downfield, and that suits Mike Evans. This is Rachaad White, Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin is sadly the third piece. So, yeah, it's hard to feel too excited about him right now. And then the final faller, Dameon Pierce. Man, he is done, it feels like, as a reliable high upside fantasy option. This is a guy that's getting outproduced considerably by Devin Singletary. I didn't drop him despite Singletary's production until we saw them work together. But look, this is now a split backfield with Singletary getting the receiving work, which means Singletary is going to be the high value player. Dameon Pierce averaging 7.4 points per game. He's had 3 weeks inside the top 36. I would happily sell for any 24 second. I'd happily sell for any 25 second. I think you can potentially get more just on name value because I think people maybe still buy into the fact that he could be a workhorse on what is proven to be an explosive offense. But I honestly believe that he could potentially be falling. Well, that's it for the week. That's it for the Risers Fallers. Let me know if you disagree. And remember, get that comment below to get interested and get entered for the Golden Deck Chair.